Welcome to this session of webinar today. The title is The New Law of Jointly Owned Property and an introduction to a new program from United States. Let me introduce our speakers today, and we thank everyone who has joined the webinar today. My name is George Maurice. I am kind of lecturer, trainer, and international speaker in real estate. With us today from Chicago, from United States, is Leah Mesben. Leah is a Senior Director of International Program for the Institute of Real Estate Management, IREM, a professional association that trains, certifies, and represents the interests of the real estate management industry. Ms. Mesben has been with IRM for 13 years and oversees all aspects of IRM's international activities, including the adaptation of courses of the local market, specialized education programming, translation, training of local instructors, local and international conferences, participation, and member and chapter service. Leah holds a double Bachelor of Arts in Russian Language and Literature and International Affairs from George Washington University in Washington, D.C., USA, and a Master's of Arts in International Relations from the University of Chicago, Illinois, United States as well. She is a member of the American Society of Association Executive, ASAE. Ms. Mesben was a recipient of ASAE's 40 Under 40 Awards for Association Excellence in 2017. Among the speakers today, we have Mr. Samer Ghani, the President of Community Association Institute of Middle East. He holds a Bachelor of Architecture from Chicago, Illinois, United States. He is also the founder of SAGA, International Owner Association Management, an association management company based in Dubai. Samer has a knack to take a vision and make it a reality through sound strategy development. In the last 20 years, Mr. Ghani obtained several management skills, which has made him a force to reckon with. And last one, not the least, Dr. Shahram Safai. Dr. Shahram from Dubai as well. He's a partner of Reddy and Angel. He heads the firm's real estate practice and represents stakeholders in the industry, including developers, owners, architects, engineers, contractors, government entities in all stages of the real estate and construction process. He is a member of the Advisory Economic Council to Dubai government and lecturer on regional laws. Dr. Shahram is a qualified solicitor in England and Wales and a member of the California State Bar. He obtained a Juris Doctor from the University of British Columbia. For the first time, I got to know that also Mr. Shahram is a registered professional engineer. Right? So we're glad to have you on board today, Leah, Dr. Shahram, and Mr. Samer. We're going to be starting by having a new introduction to some courses, all right, that we'll import from United States. And I'll leave the mic to Leah to tell us more about it.
Thank you so much. I am excited to be here today. It's early in the morning in Chicago, but it was a great opportunity to come and speak to the audience in Dubai. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
I'm going to go ahead and share some slides. So hopefully we'll make sure that you can see them. Give me 1 second. There they go. Okay. Oops. Okay. Hopefully that view is good. Sorry about that. So I'm going to speak today on behalf of IREM. I'm going to talk about a new program that we're launching in Dubai with DREI in September. So IREM really believes that we're inspiring change through property management. And the Institute of Real Estate Management sees property management as the cornerstone of real estate because we all live, work, and do everything in buildings. So quality property management is really key to our lives. This is just, I was already introduced, but my name is Leah Misbin. I'm the Senior Director of International Programs. And IREM, the Institute of Real Estate Management, is based in Chicago, Illinois. We are an affiliate of the National Association of Realtors. Any of you who have been to Chicago know where the National Association of Realtors headquarters is, and IREM is right there on the 5th floor. I have a short video I'm going to attempt to play now that's just a little bit about IREM.
For those who make a real and lasting impact on the value of the places where we work, play, shop, and live. For those who understand that real estate management isn't simply a job, it's a career. For those who strive to get better every day, and for those who are ready to embrace the future and all the opportunity it brings. IREM is an international force of nearly 20,000 individuals united to move real estate management forward. We are the voice and the champion of the profession and the professionals who make it great. We provide leading-edge education, support, and the chance to share ideas with a diverse network of smart people committed to getting smarter. An array of membership and professional development options, including the chance to earn the most distinguished credentials in the industry, provide exhilarating career paths for everyone from college students to day one rookies to veterans with decades of experience. For property and asset managers, for those who manage commercial, residential, and industrial, for those who know that good management matters and want the best of the best to protect their real estate investments ethically and expertly. IREM's goal is simple: to help real estate managers get better at their jobs through new ideas, new opportunities, and new connections. If you're connected to real estate management in any way, or if you just want to learn more about this exciting and evolving world, IREM is for you. IREM, for those who manage to make a difference.
So there's a little bit about IREM, just an introductory video to let you know what we're all about. IREM believes the world of real estate management changes very fast, and IREM embraces the challenges of all of our members face. We always continue to advocate for our members and be the resource they turn to when they are looking for guidance, education, and leadership. For more than 85 years, our members have made IREM the world's strongest voice for all things real estate management. We are almost 20,000 leaders in commercial and residential management, and we call IREM home for learning, certification, and networking. IREM believes an effective property manager makes a difference for a tenant, a resident, and an owner. Our goal is to make sure members have a transformational experience with IREM, and making a career in real estate management is a relevant, rewarding, and sustainable choice. So why should you choose to get a certification with IREM? IREM is the home for property management certifications for individuals, companies, and properties. IREM members benefit from products, services, industry news, and information, and discounts, along with intangible benefits, such as networking, a sense of community, and common purpose, in addition to the opportunity to volunteer at an international level. Busy professionals rely on the association to brief them on important industry trends, legislative rulings, and advances in technology. Members who hold one of our exclusive certifications have a competitive advantage. It differentiates them and elevates them in the marketplace. In fact, an independent research study shows that owners and investors prefer managers with the ARM designation over other industry credentials working in the residential sphere. IREM members can access support at every step of their career. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ARM, which is the residential, accredited residential manager certification. This is a certification that we will be launching in partnership with DREI starting in September 2020. Owners, tenants, and employees know that if you hold the IREM accredited residential manager designation, you have the knowledge to help maximize the value of any residential property. The ARM includes multiple components, which you can see on the screen: ethics, experience, education, and examination, license, application, and ongoing membership. The ARM is the most recognized residential property manager designation in the United States and internationally. An ARM is an individual who is directly accountable for property results and is responsible for large residential properties. The ARM designation is earned after fulfilling rigorous education, exam, and experience requirements and subscribing to the IREM Code of Ethics. It also includes ongoing membership in IREM, which helps employees expand their network, share knowledge and expertise, and consult with other industry experts. It is a formalized training backed by a powerful international organization. Here are the steps to achieve the ARM certification through our partnership with DREI. If you are interested in doing this, we do have a prerequisite. We require that students have successfully passed the 3-day DREI property management course. And then after that, the IREM course would be the second block of this certification. Our course that we're offering in Dubai is called the RES 202 course. It is a site management course, and it is 3 days long, and it covers what IREM believes to be the essentials of residential property management, which includes maintenance, risk management, finance, human resources, and marketing and leasing of a residential property. There is a 150 question certification exam. It is multiple choice that must be passed in order to apply for the ARM. And lastly, we ask that people fulfill the experience requirement, which they would demonstrate on an application. The qualifying experience includes 1 year of working on a residential property with at least 30 units, as well as being a manager who fulfills certain functions as defined by IREM in the function areas I just discussed. I wanted to end with a quote from one of our international members. This is from a certified property manager member of IREM in Johannesburg, South Africa. And he says, being an IREM member in South Africa has given me a competitive advantage because it sets me apart from many professionals within the industry. It has given me more confidence in discussing many issues related to real estate, and it also has given me recognition with my peers or fellow members because it allows me to be able to assert more authority because of the certification that backs up my name. We think this is a very powerful quote because it really focuses on a few things. That IREM gives you a competitive advantage. It gives you confidence when talking about real estate and specifically real estate management. It gives you recognition amongst your peers, and it's a certification that backs up your name. Lastly, I am just flashing the information here for IREM if you wanted to contact us directly, if you have any questions. You can also contact the Dubai Real Estate Institute, and they are our local representatives and can answer questions about the education program as well as the certification. And that concludes my presentation, George.
Thanks a million, Leah. It was a pleasure hearing all this information. And we will coming you very soon here in Dubai with the first program to be in collaboration with Dubai Real Estate Institute in September. Hope everything will be fine by that time and traveling will be made much easier than now. Thank you again. We have among our speakers, like I mentioned, Mr. Samer and Dr. Shahram. And I'll take this opportunity, guys, and start to ask some question about the new law that has been introduced in September 2019, the law number 6. And let me start by Dr. Shahram asking me a question. Do you see that the new law has changed the way common areas in building are managed?
Well, I think it has. I think it has. The old law was based on an Australian law, which is similar in Canada, England, and various other places, where There was an owner association that was in control. There was a board, and it was a standard way of owners sort of getting together and deciding. And they could delegate their responsibilities to an association manager. The new law is really quite a unique creation, something that is catered for Dubai and the special considerations that Dubai requires. And so it breaks down the management of common areas into three categories. The first category are major projects. The second category are hotels. And the third category is everything else. And so if you look within each one has its own rules as to how common areas are managed. Let's start off with the first category, major projects. Under the first category, the developer is responsible for the management, operation, maintenance, and repair of the common parts and the utilities. And think of a major project.
If I may interfere, can I ask you a question? What are the characteristics of major projects?
It's
How
a good
do you define
question.
this is a major project?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think we've had too much guidance on that, but I would say that a major project would probably classify as something like a Burj Khalifa. You know, a significant project, a project of prominence and importance from a real estate perspective and economic perspective. So that'd be an example of a major project. It's a very good question. And so for a major project, the law says, the new law says that the management, operation, and maintenance and repair is with the developer. However, the developer can appoint, if it wants, a management company to carry out these services if it wants. Under the second category, which is the category of hotels, then the law says that the developer shall appoint a hotel project management company. This is a specialized project management company which is experienced in hotels, so not just a regular one. And under the third category, which is everything else, the third category would be the vast majority of projects of buildings in Dubai. There, a specialized management company shall be selected and engaged by RERA, and they will manage the project. So that's how it's done now under the new law. All of these companies that we talked about, all of these management companies have to be approved by RERA. So RERA is now taking a central role in approving these management companies, and so that they move forward.
Okay, what is the relationship between the developer and the management company in this situation?
Well, the developer and the management company will have a contract where the developer will ask the management company to perform those services. In the case of, for example, a major project, the responsibility is with the developer actually to manage. But under the law, it has the right to delegate that to a management company. So how does it delegate? Through a contract. That would be the same case also as far as contract when it comes to the third category, or even the hotel, where they would have contracts in place with these managers to run these buildings.
Mr. Samer, coming from the practice point of view now, what major change did the new law make for management companies? We knew that management company before that law are totally different than what is going on today. Are they the responsible party now, or the developer in collaboration with them, both are responsible in front of RERA?
Actually, under the new law, the full responsibility lies under the management company. Now we need to separate between the developer and the management company. A developer may have a management license to manage the project, but legally, the developer's role stops and ends once the project is completed and a management company takes over. So it could be the same company, or it could be another company, private. Now, what is the major changes between the new law and the old law? As we all know that in the previous law, and as Dr. Shahram has highlighted, the old law, we had an owners association with board members, with elections and so forth. In the new law, it makes the manager fully responsible, fully liable for the management of these properties. Now, in this way, it gave us the power to actually appoint professionals, most of service providers, and we have a lot of compliances we have to abide with coming from RERA and other authorities. And also it has defined the roles and responsibilities. For example, previously, if anything we had to do, we needed to go back to the board. Some boards were replying, some boards were not attending, and some boards favored certain companies, and we were not able to manage efficiently. So this affected the way the building was managed. It also affected the building status overall. We had a lot of buildings, especially when it comes to health and safety. We couldn't resolve, mainly because the boards were not bothered or couldn't attend. Today, it is fully our responsibility. We take action, we comply with the authority, and we make sure that the building is up to the standards. So this is the major change between the old law and the new law.
Thank you, Samer. Now, if we're talking about the owner association board, then we knew that it was monitoring everything, having in their hands everything to be satisfying the owners and the investors. Today, we don't have any longer the owner association, but we will have what we call owners committee. So, Dr. Shahram, if you can tell us, how will the 9-member candidate will be elected, or will be appointed, or will be assigned, and what kind of role they do have over the management companies, or over the developer, or over the process, the proceeding itself of managing the common areas?
Sure. So now RERA again takes a central role as a regulatory agency to ensure that quality is maintained and things are done properly. And so RERA is responsible for selecting the 9 members of the owners committee from amongst the owners who are living in the property. And their criteria for selection, according to the law, is that they have to be of full legal capacity. They have to have legal capacity. Be one of the owners living in the property. Be of good conduct, punctual in paying their service charge and utilization charge, and regularly attend the meetings of the owners committee and an effective participant. So this is what the law lays down as the requirements for selection of the 9 members. But RERA, as I said, takes a significant role in deciding who those 9 members are from the owners. Now, as you correctly said, it's different. It's a different world now as compared to the owner association that was there before. In the previous case, the owners voted and they selected, etc. Now, RERA looks very closely at who these participants are, and that they make sure that they are actually interested and capable of doing the job that they're selected for. Now, these owners committees, again, have different functions depending on what type of category we're talking about under the new law. As you remember, we talked about the new law identifying 3 categories. 1, major projects, 2, hotels, and 3, everything else. So let's look at the first category, major projects. An owners committee must be formed for a major project with its members selected by RERA, which shall not exceed 9 members. And their functions are as follows for major projects, like a Burj Khalifa. Verifying the management company manages the common parts, reviewing the annual budgets for the maintenance of the common property and making recommendations, and receiving complaints from owners and submitting them to RERA if the management company fails to address them within 14 days. So that is their responsibility when it comes to major projects, the first category. Under the second category, which are hotels, if the hotel project management company wishes, so it's their choice if they want it, an owners committee may be formed for each hotel project with its members selected by RERA, which shall not exceed 9 members. And finally, the third category, the category that I'm sure is where most of the action is, because that's where most of the buildings fall into. These are real estate projects other than major projects and other than hotel projects. An owners committee must be formed, so they must have an owners committee for a regular building or tower for each real estate project, with its members selected by RERA, which shall not exceed 9 members. The functions of the owners committee under this third category are as follows: verifying the management company manages the common parts, reviewing the annual budgets, receiving complaints, and submitting them to RERA if the management company doesn't deal with them in 14 days. But they have this additional obligation. The owners committee has the power to request RERA to replace the management company and provide RERA with advice on the selection and appointment of the new management company. So they're given this additional power to monitor, I guess, and request DREI to replace a management company if they're not happy with it. So that's a quick survey of how things have changed since the last law.
So if the committee does not like the management way of doing the job, they can request to DREI for a change, right? Samer,
Correct.
let me ask you a question, Samer. Who is to start with the assignment of this management company? DREI, the developer, or the committee?
Well, as of the new law, all existing contracts, as per the previous law, are just continuing. We did have a few cases where there is a change of the management, and DREI is actually tendering out the management of these buildings. There was at least, I think, 7 or 8 different JOPs where the management had to be changed, and DREI did tender it in a very transparent and open way, and DREI did the appointment, selection and appointment. So going forward, it is like Dr. Shahram said, DREI is the one who is going to appoint. DREI is the one who will take the ultimate decision.
All right, Samer, again, has the new law addressed some issues that were not possible to be addressed before?
Yes, in many ways, yes. Mainly is the governance, mainly the responsibilities. Again, I want to say that the manager is fully responsible. We all know what we have to do, and in front of all the authorities. We used to, for example, go to a simple request to the Dubai municipality to ask them for some document or whatever. Nobody recognized us. Whereas with the new law, we're able to do a little bit more than that. I think the most important thing about the new law and the new change is the escrow accounts, the bank escrow accounts, which have been established for every jointly owned property. In the previous law, all bank accounts, service charge were collected into accounts, whether held, maintained by the developer or by the management company. So this was in some way a risky issue, which people cannot, you cannot trust it if it's not transparent. Today with the new law, we have an escrow account. It is monitored and supervised by DREI, and it is ultimately, it is very difficult to take money out of it. There are certain parameters. So this is probably one of the most important issue that was not addressed previously.
This is the most important issue, money.
Yes.
Where is my money going?
Where is it?
Yeah. Dr. Shahram, now we say that the developer, right, can be part of the committee?
Well, as you know, the developer being part of the committee has been a contentious issue over the years. Some of them have exercised significant power which the owners did not like. And so the law does address that issue. A developer may not be a member of the owners committee unless they have unsold units in the common property. I guess they can put themselves forward as an owner if they have unsold units, but it's still up to DREI to select them to be part of that 9-member committee. So it's definitely not automatic.
All right. Do they have to own some properties in the building in order to become part of the committee, or they can be part without owning anything?
No, they have to own unsold units. That's correct.
Very good, very good. Okay. Mr. Samer, if I may ask you again, what procedures were introduced by DREI in line with the new law that can help jointly owned properties?
Well, one of the most important process and procedures introduced, everybody knows, is the MULAC system. With the MULAC system, today no service charge can be issued except going through that system. Basically, we have a budget which we prepare, and we support it with different agreements. Then we submit it to the DREI appointed auditor, who will look at every agreement, every expense, will look at the financial statements and compare before it is forwarded to DREI, who will also look at it and see it before they can approve it. Now, there are benchmarks now that they're looking at. They're looking at different services at different prices. Cheap is not necessarily the best. However, they can compare different building standards and what the requirements are. And it has controlled in many ways the service charges. They have dropped in many of the buildings. For example, in some buildings, there was excess services not required. if it has around 7 or 8 cleaners when it could have been done with 4 cleaners, this all has been outlined. If there are services that are really not required, have also been eliminated. All in all, the MOLAC system has managed to reduce service charges in many ways. Another thing that, yes.
Can you give us a bit of the details or clarification? What is MOLAC system?
MOLAC, it is a RERA-based system in which all jointly owned property have to be registered and have to be a part of. It is where the manager has access and where through this system we upload the budgets, verified, and then the service charge is issued. But in order to do this process, there are many small processes in between. For example, the RERA auditor will come once you upload, he will verify all the budget line items. He will verify the contracts. Once that is done, then RERA will look at it. It will go to RERA. RERA will also look at the same details through the MOLAC and will compare it with other buildings of equal standard. Once it's all done, then it is approved, and then the service charge invoice is issued.
So it's issued through MOLAC system.
Through MOLAC system, yes.
Very good, very good. Okay.
One other thing I want to talk about that RERA has introduced procedures is that today we have compliances. Today there are, like I'll give you a small example, like today with the COVID-19 cases that are going through, there's a lot of compliances that we are required to implement that is coming down from the Dubai police or the different authorities. So we have to comply immediately and quickly, whereas in the old system, we might have to wait till the boards approve it. Another thing is that also the new system introduced, there is inspections. RERA do have inspectors who randomly go and inspect the buildings, who will see and check, and then they will give a warning to the management company, and they can also penalize the management company with very big fines. Fines could reach up to 50,000, 100,000. So we have inspections, we have compliances, we have the MOLAC. It's so many new introductions and changes.
So RERA, they still have the monitoring system over these companies?
They still have monitoring more than before, because with the inspectors, any owner who has a complaint, which the management company does not attend to, an owner can raise the complaint through the MOLAC system. It will be escalated to the management, and they have 2 days or 3 days to reply. If not, then RERA will take the necessary action. They will send inspectors for serious problems, and they will check.
Dr. Shahram, from the legal point of view now, from the new law, did it help addressing the service charge areas?
Meaning from a collection perspective?
Yep. Collection,
yeah, so
and lowering or whatever it is, consuming, monitoring.
Yeah. I think that, Samer has talked about that already. I don't, I think that you will realize efficiencies going forward, because the way the law has set things up, certainly the processes are more efficient. And so you're going to see better service charges, lower service charges over time, perhaps. But immediately, I don't think that's the case. It's certainly not my expertise. Samer can talk more about that. Samer, do you want to talk about that?
Well, okay. We're just basically today with the new law. Once the service charge is issued, an owner has 30 days to make payment. Once the payment has not been done, we do have the right to resort to the rental dispute center and file a legal notice. Once this procedure has been completed, then according to the RDC, they will decide on what we can do. Today, as of date, we're still waiting for the system to be activated. And one thing that the MOLAC system did is that we have many cases where there is disputes between an owner or a developer for a service charge, or between an owner and a new owner and an older for a service charge outstanding. So we were not able to resolve this. We were not able to find a mediation between them. I believe that with the new system, we will be able to forward these requests to the RDC and let them decide as a judge, and they are through Dubai courts on these cases. Now, people have to know, service charge is due against a unit. It is not against a person. So today, when a unit has an outstanding amount, if you are an owner and if you have a dispute with a developer, that is strictly between yourself and a developer. So we cannot really be caught in the middle. The RDC should resolve these issues. It will clean up all these historical outstandings. We have properties with outstandings for more than 5 or 6 years. So hopefully with the MOLAC system and the new law, we'll be able to clean up all these issues.
From experience before this law and according to this new law, Dr. Shahram, how do you see the RDC Rental Dispute Center getting in the picture?
Yeah, I think, and exactly, just to add to Samar's point, I think that before, the way that it worked under the old law, there were some provisions about going to Dubai court and being able to ask for the unit to be sold auction to recover these service charges. The problem was that Dubai court has a history of dealing with families and children and, really being quite kind when it comes to tenants and owners, etc. And so in many ways, what we experienced was a stop to being able to enforce these and collect them. And so that incentivized a lot of people not to pay. And that's, of course, not the right system. It's not Dubai court's problem at all. It was just the law perhaps didn't consider it. And so the new law very specifically talks about not Dubai courts, but the Rental Dispute Center, which sits in the land department. I believe it's 1 floor above the ground floor. And so the judges who come there are very familiar with the processes. And it says that if someone is given a 30-day notice, they still don't pay, then the management company can, sign and witness that this has not been paid, and it becomes executable against the unit when it goes to the judge at the Rental Dispute Center. He stamps it, approves it, and they can actually sell that unit, auction that unit to get the service charges. I believe that this time around, under this new law, this may happen, and there's enough of a threat that people will pay their service charges on time once they see this being rolled out.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Samer, what kind of reporting system do those companies have with RERA?
I'm sorry?
Reporting system. Do the company has to give a report on what's happening in the building?
No, we don't have to give daily reports. We are obliged to give financial summaries, basically to the owners as well. It's their entitled, and also to RERA. RERA has an online access. They have integrated with a lot of softwares, and they can monitor and see what is happening in most buildings. Mainly the collections, mainly the complaints. So these are the 2 main areas which RERA will be looking at, and they have the inspectors also.
Dr. Shahram, you mentioned about the role of the committee and how they are being assigned or elected by RERA. How long will they serve?
That's a good question. My suspicion is that it'll be a 1-year appointment, as it was before. But I haven't seen that in action yet, but that would make sense to me.
Okay. A question to Samer from the audience as well. Can you give us some elaboration or some explanation about the escrow account?
Yes, okay. Mahmoud, thank you so much. This is basically an account that is in the name of the building. It is not in the name of the management or RERA or the developer. Owners will pay the service charges to this account, and the manager will also pay the expenses from this account. Now, in order to pay from this account, if you recall, in the MOLAC system, we have a budget. The budget is very extensive. RERA's standard budget, which is applicable to all buildings, is roughly around 180 lines. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to use all 180 lines. On the average, we use 30 of the services. This budget, once it's approved, a copy of it is given to the bank, the escrow account holder. Once this payment has been submitted to the bank will cross-check that this payment is as per the approved budget that has been audited, and also according to the scope, and that the services have been provided. Only then the amount will be released. So this is what the difference is. Today, the payment process on average takes around 1 week to turn around. once we submit it. So it is very limited. Today, also another important point. If you, for example, cleaning services is 120,000 dirhams per year. If you submit an invoice for 120,001 fills, it will be rejected. So when you do give a budget, you have to be very careful. You have to plan it properly. And if there's an issue in between, you always go back to RERA and see what they can help you out with.
This question coming also from the audience. Do owners have access to Molak system to view the FNS?
No. At
No,
the moment, we don't have access to the Molak. However, the management company should be able to email the financial statements to the owner upon request.
Now, another question, it says, that I guess that's for Dr. Shahram. It says, if according to the old laws, somebody was not paying service charges, who's responsible to pay that? The new owner? The old owner?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, the question is, why did they get an NOC if the service charges had not been paid? That'd be my first question, because generally if the NOC is being given, everything should be clear.
It was issued. Some of the time they issue NOC.
Yeah, if that's the case, then as the law says, it's executable against the unit. And so you've got this debt that's sitting, you bought a unit with a debt, which you should not have, or if you did, you should have subtracted it from the sales price. So, it'd be something that you're burdened with, and potentially it could be executable against the unit, meaning they can try and sell the unit to get it unless you pay it. So that's the way I would look at it.
All right, another question to Samir, I guess. Transfer of the balance from the non-escrow account to the escrow account, will it be audited?
Yes, of course. Thank you again, Mahmoud. This is basically all the amounts that are in the non-escrow account must be transferred to the escrow account before the final budget is approved. This amount, once it is transferred, there has to be an audit performed by the RERA-approved auditor for every fills that has entered and exited. This way, it will complete the circle and it will close all the loose ends for this account. So the escrow account, the account that's opened in the name of the developer or the management company, it's a big must to close it. RERA will not approve the 2020 budget until you close this account and transfer it to the escrow account and audit it.
Very good, very good. Dr. Shahram, is there some number of units that the developer has to sell before handover?
No, I don't think there's a magic number that I know of. Let's take the extreme example. It's usually a good way to analyze things. Let's assume that that's 100 units in a building and the developer's only sold one. That's the extreme example. Does the developer have to hand over that one unit even though 99 units are not sold? The answer is yes, because in the contract, that developer would have committed to hand over that unit by a certain date. And if not that date, then 12 months after that. And then if not, he's in default. And therefore, even if it's one unit, then by contract and even by law, eventually, he'd have to hand that over.
Okay. You have mentioned that the RDC has the power to immediately auction the unit to get back the unpaid fees or charges, right? So when it is auctioned, who will pay the charges?
The service charges?
Yeah.
Let me interfere here with this question here. This
Sure.
is, I'm telling you from realistic cases. This is the problem we've been facing with the previous law and the new law. We had Dubai courts where if an owner had a mortgage and the bank to recover it auctions it off, they auction it off, they take the money, and we really cannot do anything. Because Dubai courts did not take the owners association into consideration. Whereas under the new law, if there's an owner, there is a service charge outstanding, it will be highlighted in the Molak system, and any auction or any sale it is online, and the authorities can see it. What can we do with the old units that have been sold and auctioned? One of two solutions. Either we take the old owner, whether it's the bank or whether it is the owner, to courts, and we may be lucky to recover it. Or in our books, it is like a deficit, and we will put it on the following year budgets.
It seems like I have another question for you, Samer. It says, coming to the point that the companies now have more liabilities and are really doing a bigger job and lots of insurance and whatever, do they have increased their fees? The companies, management company, did they
Yes.
increase the fees in
No.
view of the higher liability they do have right now?
No, not at all, not at all. In 2020, RERA has made it very clear, no budget increase allowed, no budget at all. If anything, it's a reduction.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we can see that reflected on the charges?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Very
No
good.
building will have an increase except for unusual accounts. If anything, in most of the buildings, I think there is a reduction mainly because of the nature of the situation we're going through.
Very good, very good. We'd like to have a conclusion from each of the speakers, please. We start by Samer again.
All I can say is that the new law, it is really the first year that it is under implementation. We're still learning on how to move forward. I believe that once the RDC is also in action and where our lives are back to normal and we can practice freely, we will learn more and more. However, in my opinion, it is a good example that can be implemented across the area in the Middle East.
Dr. Shahram?
So the old law was a good attempt at trying to deal with buildings and management, but it required some improvements. And I think the new law gives us a Dubai catered solution, which is centralized and controlled by the government, by RERA, to ensure quality and safety for residents, owners, investors, tenants. I think it's a good way to go forward. And I think in the long term, it will be beneficial to property values.
Leah, do you have anything to add?
I was just going to say this all is very interesting, and it sounds like property management is in a state of change for the region. So this is the perfect time for IREM to get involved and learn more about the local market.
Sounds good to me. We thank everyone who has joined us today. We thank the speakers, Leah, Dr. Shahram, and Mr. Samarani. And as you know, guys, in UAE, we started to reopen the business in view of the COVID-19. But we have to make sure, guys, that we're not living beyond COVID-19. We have to cope to live with it. And this is very important. We don't want to go out and say, yes, it's gone. It is not gone yet, guys. And we are not waiting for a vaccine to stop the virus. We're waiting for our behavior to stop the virus. It's us that can stop the virus. So let's take our precaution, even though we have opened a lot of things. And as we heard by June 14th, we're going to be 100% right back to work, almost. Right? So the other point that we have to put in mind, what we used to do before Corona is definitely changing after Corona. So if we have to think the same way we used to think before, I think we're not gonna achieve what we are looking forward to. So please, let's all have the good behavior to stop this virus, and we'll live with it till it got beyond us. Soon, it will be part of a history. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure, and we see you again from DREI talks on different webinars till we get together in a good gatherness. Take care, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.